All right, hello, hello, welcome back. Another edition live from Drew's house. Hope everybody's doing okay. Happy October. I bring out the coffee mug of today. I did the Paris mug in honor of the I'm making this up as I go along. In honor of the French Open being played right now. Tennis's French Open. There you go. That's why the Paris mug, playing at an odd time of year because of the pandemic, way pushed back. There's your odd fact of the day. My name is Drew Moholland. Thanks for joining us again. Let's get right to our guest because she's ready to go. As promised, we're going to do a Halloween show because it is October and, well, it's going to be kind of a strange Halloween, stranger than usual. Let's bring in Kate Fox. She's the executive director of Destination Salem. I think it's safe to say the Halloween capital of the world. Hello, Kate.
Good morning, Drew. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. So obviously, Halloween in Salem, I think it's still going to be a show, but things like everything else are going to be a lot different in a pandemic. Let's start right there.
Yeah, there are a lot of rules. Nothing's easy in COVID time. So we are recommending that if people are planning to come to Salem during October, they plan ahead. We are following the state's reopening guidelines. The city of Salem has stayed at phase 3, step 1. Even though we are eligible to advance to step 2, we are not doing that. So there are no special events in Salem during haunted happenings this year. Excuse me. So people are advised to check websites, buy tickets in advance, make reservations in advance, and download the Destination Salem app so they can get notifications as necessary.
Okay, so no real events. There are, I do know, like my town, I'm coming to you from Danvers. The old used to be one town back in the day.
It's very far away.
Very far away. But in Danvers and so many of the towns around us, we are seeing more and more businesses open. I know that's the case in Salem too, outside seating, all that stuff. It's not like Salem is not a happening place right now. There are events going on still. It's not like it's a dull town. I touch on that a little bit.
Right. So Salem's a city. We can't shut down the city, the businesses, and businesses have been opening since they were allowed to over the summer. And almost all of the museums and attractions are open. Walking tours are operating. Restaurants are open. We have dozens of restaurants that are taking advantage of expanded outdoor seating, and they've taken over the sidewalks and the parking spaces.
It's kind of cool, actually.
It's really cool. I mean, it's like sitting out in the middle of Lappin Park having lunch at Gula Gula is an amazing thing to do. And so that's been really great. Notch has expanded onto there's a new river walk the city built during the shutdown and on the South River, so you can sit along the river on expanded seating at Notch to have a beer. So the businesses are doing an amazing job at following the standards and the protocols and keeping everybody safe. And that is our first priority, of course, keep all of our residents, our employees, and the visitors safe from COVID. So for that reason, we have a mask order in Salem. You're required to wear a mask indoors and outdoors in all public areas downtown. And that's important because that isn't something that people have to abide by everywhere. And so we do have ambassadors walking around reminding people the mask goes over the whole nose and mouth area, not just the mouth or the chin or your arm.
That's an odd job, right? Having to be that person?
It is. I think we all have odd jobs because of COVID now. Everybody has a little bit more on their plate, but I really do commend all the businesses that are and the people on the front line. They're doing a great job and really keeping people safe. And Salem's numbers have been doing pretty well. Salem State opened. They have students on campus. Nothing's easy during COVID, but people are here. People have been coming all summer. It's been busy. If you don't like crowds, Saturdays in Salem are not the time to be here. That's true in normal times, though. If you don't like crowds, October can be tough. But there are a lot of things to do. Peabody Essex Museum just opened 2 new exhibits at the end of September, one on the witch trials. So coming from Danvers, you might be interested in the Salem Witch Trials exhibit, which does talk about the entire geography of the region that was affected in 1692. And then their Salem Stories is a really great exhibit that they've just opened as well.
All right, a couple things I want to unpack there. I will circle back to Halloween again, I promise. But as somebody in a official capacity, you must be pretty proud of how the businesses have adapted. Because, like I said, I've been through. We hang out in Salem a lot, and it's a cool place to be.
It is, and the way they reopened, the preparedness, the way businesses used the shutdown time to get their personal protective equipment, to get the plexiglass, to put the stickers down, to figure out how they need to modify operations. It's no easy task reopening a business during COVID with all of the reopening guidelines, and the businesses have done a really great job. One of our biggest concerns now is with the crowds coming because of capacity limits. We're looking at lines and long queues to get into, especially retail. And along Essex Street and the pedestrian mall, we don't want to see a lot of crowding as people wait to get into the stores. So that's one of the things the city is working with the business community to address and figure out.
Understood. One of the, again, we're joined here by Kate Fox, Executive Director of Destination Salem on the North Shore. I guess we probably have to say that, you got Salem, New Hampshire too.
I think there's a Salem in every state.
But you're really the Salem. One of the not so fun questions, you mentioned Salem State. Almost, it seems like every single campus in the state, in the country, is having some sort of issue. I know I have a sister who works at Endicott. I have family that work at other colleges. I work in the news business, so I read all the stories. It is not exactly easy telling a bunch of college kids they can't party, is it?
No, I have a college sophomore who is attending from our guest room. So it's, there's just nothing easy. No matter what age you are, whether you're in elementary school or college, you're being told that you can't live the life that you are very accustomed to living. So whether it's a question of socializing at the college level or socializing as a 10-year-old, and the impact on sports and how people interact with each other, it's really tough. And that goes for tourism as well. Not everybody has the type of guidelines and reopening standards that Massachusetts has. I think Massachusetts is doing an amazing job, which we can see in our numbers. But when you have visitors coming in from all over the country, they may or may not believe in the guidelines we have put in place. So we do a lot of education. And I think that happens at all levels.
And, it's Salem State is kind of unique. When I was in college, it was Salem State What is it now? Is it university or college?
Yeah, it's university now.
It's university now. It used to be Salem
State. Would have been college, yeah. Salem State College.
So now it's Salem State University. For those of you who don't know, never been on the campus, it's a lot of it is the surrounding neighborhood. And, it very much grows into the city. It's not exactly a huge campus, but it is a big area where there's off-student housing and off-campus housing and all that stuff. I can imagine that doesn't make it easier because you're trying to police a lot of these kids that are living in neighborhoods that, you might be living next to a family with 3 kids, all that stuff. I can imagine that doesn't make life easier.
No, I'm not that familiar with what is happening at Salem State and all the college campuses, but I think it's true in all communities. And we're hearing a lot of reports that house parties for any age are spreading the virus. So whether it's college students or somebody having a birthday party in the backyard, when they get comfortable and they don't wear masks and the virus is transmitted, it's hard to enforce. Salem's been working really hard to enforce the gathering rules and gathering limits, and I know a lot of other communities are as well.
Is there a fear? Because I know, I remember when I was in college, that was one of the things we did this time of year. We went to Salem. It was a fun place to hang out. Is that something that you have all been talking about? Is we need to kind of police those college kids a little bit more because they're going to want to have fun?
Yeah, I think it's all demographics. It's college kids. It's certainly we've seen evidence of people in their 20s feel that they're immune to the virus, or even if they're going to get the virus, they're not going to get sick from the virus, and they aren't concerned with the potential of spreading the virus. So that's a concern, just as it's a concern with visitors coming from high-risk states that may or may not think that the Massachusetts travel order is something they need to adhere to. So the Board of Health in Salem is working really hard on enforcement and reminding people of the necessary compliance that is expected.
So give me a picture where, really we are in October. I mean, like you said, the months leading up to October even get busy as late summer into early fall. in Salem. It's really not just Halloween week, but as we really, really build up into prime time Halloween, I mean, are we talking like, no, I mean, maybe you'll still see some tours. I don't like, because you're used to seeing the tours walk through the streets and all that. Like, put me on the streets of Salem. What's it going to look like come Halloween week?
Lots of masks with masks.
Oh.
So there are walking tours. Most of the walking tour companies are operating. They are capped by the state at 10 people per tour. Usually they have up to 50 people per tour. So they are much smaller, which means they are selling out further in advance. So it's actually a great time. I think it's a great time to take a walking tour because they're capped to 10, which makes it a really small experience with your guide. Masks, everybody's wearing masks, and we do have about a 96% compliance rate with mask wearing downtown, which is great. The businesses are open, the restaurants are open with their expanded dining. So you've got all the people sitting at the tables eating and drinking right on the sidewalks or on Essex Street, which is great. And all the retail is open. The museums, all of the museums are open except for the New England Pirate Museum and the Phillips House Museum on Chestnut Street. The Salem Ferry has stopped running. They stopped after Labor Day, so we don't have the ferry connection to Boston this year. But otherwise, most things are going. The trolley is operating, and they're actually running their evening haunted trolley. The Tales and Tombstones trolley is running. So there's an opportunity to do a ghost tour on wheels as addition to the walking ghost tours.
And I think that's important to hit on because honestly, so many of the stories I've seen your name in the newspapers, and it's so many of the stories are how hard these businesses are going to hit, which I know is true, and we can elaborate on that a little bit. And how it is going to be a tough time and a struggle, like it is all across the country. But there is still a lot to do. I think that's an important part to hit on. And Salem is not going to be the strangest place in the world come Halloween week.
Right. As long as you make your plans in advance. I think that's the most important message we have right now, is because we are hearing from people who come in unprepared on the weekends, especially if they don't have their tickets in advance, if they don't have reservations for restaurants, they're not able to get in. And we don't have the extra food carts on the street. We don't have the vendor fair. There isn't a lot to see that you're just going to wander into in October this year. Whereas a normal October, there would be vendors on Essex Street and in around Old Town Hall. There would be a lot of street performers and buskers that you can take your selfies with. The city has just announced that street performers are not allowed on Essex Street. So we're relocating things to try to de-densify that very crowded pedestrian walkway. So things are open and there's a lot to do as long as you plan ahead.
It's so funny. I just did a news story this week on the pandemic struggle of buskers. And
interesting.
Yes. Well, because think about it. I mean, you have not only, through the whole pandemic, so many of these places, they're done near the T, near these stops. There's less people taking the T. Never mind the fact that, buskers kind of rely on you coming up close anyway and goes against social distancing. So.
Right. I took a picture of 3 young women taking a picture with Frankenstein the other day when he was out, and they were all there's definitely not a 6-foot physical distancing going on. They did have masks on, but I think it's hard, and it's going to be a challenge for the performers. And you think about the crowds when we have a performer like the dancers or Kilted Colin or one of these performers in the middle of the street, and you get these crowds that come in around them, and you're just squished in to get as close as you can. And that is not in COVID protocol. So trying to figure out ways to have entertainment that's safe has been something we've been trying to address. And it's really tough. Nothing's easy this year.
It is true. For people who have not done those festivals in Salem and the big, parade at the end, it is that you go in and it's almost worth it just kind of trying to walk around if you can, because you have all these great costumes and just kind of people hanging out. It's an experience to do maybe post-pandemic, but it is social distancing is going to change that whole game. Of course, I wonder, did you say Frankenstein, by the way? There was a Frankenstein just hanging out?
Yeah, Frankenstein with Bora the witch is usually out. A lot of things have gone virtual in Salem as well. So like Bora, who's a street performer, partnered up with the Historic Salem organization, and they're doing a Halloween-themed virtual house tour of private homes. So you're going through these decorated homes for Halloween or fall with the street performer witch guiding you, which is a great sort of pivot. That's one of the words this year, right? Pivot. And they're doing their Christmas house tour virtually as well. So there are a lot of virtual programs. The Salem Witch Museum is doing a virtual lecture on why Salem is the Halloween capital of the world. So I think everybody should tune in for that. And there are virtual psychic readings and psychic fairs and lectures and book clubs, and the merchant marketplace has gone virtual. So there are a lot of ways to do Salem from your kitchen, as it were.
There we are. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, welcome to my kitchen. My kitchen is very, and I think my wife is a part of this show a lot. She's not today because she's back at school teaching. But I noticed, this is why we do the Salem show. I have, pumpkins all around, and there's another one. So when I start to see these things, I know I have to do the Halloween Salem show. So we talked about all the things that you can do, which is what I really kind of wanted to focus on. I wanted to know, what is Salem going to look like here in these coming weeks? So that's good. The big story, of course, these last few months has been all these businesses and just preparing for what is usually a huge time of year, time to be prosperous. And now it's going to be different. Talk about the financial hit. I know you've done this probably far more than you'd like to, but it is a thing.
Well, Salem is, it's definitely a thing, and it's definitely concerning, but Salem is in a really unique position. Tourism in Salem generates over $140 million a year, and that's with just over an estimated million visitors a year, and October accounts for 30% of that. Some of the businesses are having good months. They had solid August. Their recovery has been on a good trajectory. Because people are traveling, people are coming, and we continue to be a good road trip destination. So we are seeing a lot of, there were a ton of cancellations when all of the events, the costume balls and the parties and the things that the hotels package around, when those canceled, when all the social events like the weddings and all of the events that go around a wedding, when all of that canceled, that has a huge impact on the function halls, the hotels. But then we did see bookings start to come in from people who just want to be in Salem in October, and they aren't fazed by a lack of events. They have always wanted to be in Salem. They can't go somewhere else they were planning to go this year, so they're going to come here. So some of the business segments are doing well. Retail's doing well. The ones that are really affected are the ones who can't operate as usual, like the event halls, the attractions, and the museums that are capped at 50% or 40%. And then, it's definitely hard when you can't advance the capacity limits and get more people into a room. But when we don't have the testing or we don't know where people are coming and we have all the crowds coming in, it's just not a smart choice to move forward to phase 2 or step 2 of phase 3. So the challenges continue, but that we're really lucky that we do have so many customers here supporting the retail and the restaurants and the tours and the businesses that are open, just at lesser levels.
So not easy, but people are still coming. And it sounds to me like you're going to get a Halloween experience if you come to Salem here over the next month.
Yeah, it's sort of like a light Halloween experience. We aren't fully decorated, but we're sort of, they're corn stalks, they're porta potties. There's a lot of people mark the start of haunted happenings with the arrival of the porta potties, and they're here. And I have seen people in costume. I've seen families with little kids in costumes. So just wear your mask and be safe and be smart and follow the rules.
All right, couple, and again, we're joined here by Kate Fox, Executive Director of Destination Salem. Nice enough to take a few minutes for us today and talk about the busy weeks to come, and they are going to be busy, as you can hear. Couple rapid fire questions here. I always end the show with some quick ones. So first thing that comes to mind, and we'll try to rip through a bunch of them, okay? And a couple of these are going to be specific to you right off the bat. I wonder, do officials in Salem love or hate this time of year?
Mixed bag. It depends who you ask and when in the month we are. So beginning of the month, we're usually like, yes, it's great, it's fun, it's festive, everybody's happy, and by the end of the month, we're all exhausted.
I kind of thought that might be the answer. You don't know a funny story? So I told you I'm from Danvers, literally right down the street. I can be in Salem in less than 10 minutes. I all my friends too, we had never done like Salem Halloween. We had always like, it's always been right there. We always like felt like it was right there. And mostly we would get annoyed at the traffic on the highway because there's so much traffic to get off. It would make my ride home from work longer. I was like, I can't stand this time of year. And then we were like in college, we all got together and said, we should probably do this at some point, and decided to go. And it was just a blast being there on the actual Halloween night.
Well, normal Halloween nights, it's really fun. We have the 5 stages. We have bands and DJs, and there are beer gardens and the fireworks. And it's a mass wandering. Everybody just sort of strolls around downtown and looks at each other's costumes, and everybody's just happy to be here. And we're looking forward to getting back to that next year.
Most unique costume you've ever seen?
Some of them are amazing. I've seen, especially like some of the Montserrat students that come to the costume balls, they've got talent. So I've seen some amazing like birds and crows. I think one of the simplest, most clever I've seen was my first Halloween many years ago working in Salem, was a group that dressed up as bowling pins, and one of them was a ball on rollerblades. And they wandered around downtown and they set up, and the bowling ball would skate down and knock all of the pins over, and then they'd go and they'd do it again. And that just entertained me to no end. So we see so many talented and intricate costumes, but that one I just thought was entertaining.
You know what the one was for me the year that I went, and I'll never forget it because it was like, I feel like it was the first costume I saw. And, I work in the news business, so it was in the news too. It was remember the Bubble Boy story?
Oh yeah. Somebody in the bubble.
But it was like the prank that my boy blew away in the bubble, and it turned out not to be true. And
I always tell people, make sure you check the weather before you come down, because one year it was a really cold, rainy Halloween night, and there was this guy, and he was wearing a gold lame Speedo and rainbow leggings. And I saw him about 8 times during the course of the night, and every time I saw him, he looked colder and colder, and like it was just red. I was like, you're gonna have pneumonia tomorrow. So dress accordingly.
Needless to say, you saw him 8 times too many, probably.
Yeah, you do. You sort of, and when I'm walking around on Halloween night, you sort of do see the same costumes over and over again.
Oh, man. Yeah. Crazy. All right. Well, now to the more usual rapid fire questions. Favorite musician? This is the personal stuff now.
Oh, my personal favorite musician. Oh my goodness. I've been listening to a lot of Lumineers lately.
Oh, they're great.
Yeah.
I like them. I met them at a show once,
We saw them open for you too, and I was like, these guys are good. Here we are.
Yeah, that was after they got big. I saw them open for Dave Matthews right before they got big. And like, I remember they set up right behind my section and like signing albums. They were at that point in their careers where they were still meeting people and signing albums. And it was like, I walked right out and there they were. And like before the crowds came, I had like 2 minutes to talk with them. They were really nice.
Nice. Yeah.
Lumineers, good choice. Favorite movie?
Oh my goodness. What's my favorite movie? These are hard questions because they're like personality defining questions,
I know.
Right? There are too many to choose from. Gosh, I think it depends on my mood. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be Hubie Halloween, but I'm looking forward to seeing it. So okay. I'll go in the inverse there.
All right, fair enough. I thought you were going to give a Halloween movie. What was what's the one? Is it Hocus Pocus? That was
Hocus Pocus. Yeah.
My wife's favorite.
Hocus Pocus is the most visited page on our website. Is the Hocus Pocus filming locations.
No kidding.
So yeah.
Interesting. The people must ask you all the time, "Where's the Hocus Pocus house?" Right?
There are several of them, and we just hand out it's on the app. Download the Destination Salem app. There's actually a listing of the Hocus Pocus filming locations. Just remember, at least one of them is a private home, so don't walk on the porch.
Beautiful. Last personal one I'll ask you is favorite quarantine activity.
Oh, I'm a sourdough baker. So I'm one of those people who learned how to bake bread during quarantine, but I never stopped working. So my sourdough starter is fed in between Zoom meetings and webinars, and we came back into the office pretty quickly once we were allowed to.
Awesome. All right. Well, Kate Fox, I appreciate you taking some time. The last thing I'm going to say to you is one thing that I have always loved about your city of Salem, and all the people from Danvers say that. If you're familiar with Danvers, nice downtown. Not really. We always complained, I'm 33. Last 10 years, those are kind of like years that, you're very social. We always complained in Danvers about, there wasn't like that much to do downtown. We would always go to Salem. And Salem was always a great spot. There was always stuff happening, and we just always appreciated the options that Salem offered, and always had a good time. So we, on behalf of us folks that enjoyed and have enjoyed going out to Salem from Danvers all these years, we appreciate it.
Well, I'm glad, and keep coming, keep supporting the businesses. And I'm sure all the Salem residents will keep supporting Danvers during October when they don't want to be downtown with crowds.
There you go. Well, we wish you all a happy and healthy Halloween. We hope it all goes smoothly for you. And this is early October, so I guess it'll be a few weeks before you start getting frustrated. And since what you told me earlier.
Yeah, well, if we can get through this year, we can get through anything.
Well said. All right, Kate Fox, thank you so much.
Thanks, Drew.
All right, there you go. There's our little Halloween show. My hair is doing crazy things today. I cannot keep it down. It's like summer hair. You know, like that humidity hair where it just gets all frizzy? I think I'm back to losing control. Usually when I put it in the ponytail, which I have here, we're under control. Anyways, I digress. Thank you, Kate Fox. That was fantastic. There's our Halloween show. We have delivered on that. Salem should be interesting here in the coming weeks. It really is a great town to go out in the city. I always call it a town because Danvers is a town, and I feel like we're one of the same, but it's a city. And it is, they've done a great job. But for those of you who are into going out still through a pandemic safely, it is a good spot to go. They've cleared out street space and sidewalk space, and restaurants already have some space in the first place. And there's like little kind of common areas that have turned into restaurant areas. If you want to go out to eat, you can still do it in Salem. Like so many places. I mean, Beverly, I went to the other day. They had some of that. Newburyport's done a good job with it, taking over some street space. So obviously we've seen the pictures of Boston in the North End, which I almost think they should keep. I don't know if it's possible, but it just looks fantastic. So the outdoor thing, it can happen. And I hope for those of you who are feeling safe enough to go out and do it, go do it, because Salem's a good spot to do it in. I kind of like the outdoor dining idea in general. It's something I think we should keep. I remember always thinking, like, let's go, even in the summertime, like I felt like options were kind of limited around here for outdoor eating, like, well, let's go find a place outdoors, and like suddenly you're down to 5 possible places to go. This is good. That's one good thing I think of the pandemic is this. I think restaurants and all these places are kind of learning, like, oh, we can live a little outside. This is good. Even in October, folks, it's beautiful out there. Dress accordingly. As I joke about my hair, it's about that time of year where I turn to beanie season. Somebody asked me the other day, because I was walking around with sandals, and they were like, how long do you go the sandals route for? You're in fall now. And I said, you know what I think it is with me? I have an issue with like getting away from things. It's like, so I will, once I leave the sandals, which should happen shortly, I usually turn to, that probably makes it beanie season and winter cap season. And then like I'll extend winter cap season probably too long. Like I'll probably go into some warm weather with the beanie and the winter cap. I find it tough to let go of things. I think that's my issue. All right, we'll leave you for the day with my issues. There you go. That's good. Big thanks to Kate Fox, Executive Director of Destination Salem, getting ready for the big Halloween season in Salem. Happy October, everybody. Here we are. Get your pumpkins, get your coffee, and it feels like fall. I'm Drew Moholland. Bye-bye now.